With a 117-116 heart-stopping Game 6 win over OKC, the Dallas Mavericks advanced to the Western Conference Finals. Their second trip in 3 years, and though the MVP finalist face of the squad is the same for the Mavs, it's the supporting cast around Luka that's so different this year. And on paper, allows Dallas to reverse their fortune from the gentleman's sweep they got from Steph Curry's Warriors just 2 years ago. Let's take a look at how the Dallas Mavericks made it back to the Western Conference Finals. Since drafting their last generational talent, the Dallas Mavericks were defined by Luka Doncic and the organization's ability, or lack thereof, to build a roster around their young star. And for years, with moves like pairing him with Porzingis and letting Jalen Brunson walk in free agency, Dallas's attempts to craft a contender around Doncic were largely unsuccessful. Even after adding Kyrie just before the deadline last year, the Mavs failed to even make the playoffs. All of that, however, changed this year. With a full offseason together, the Luka Kyrie pairing seemed to be a near perfect one. Irving played the most games for one team in a season since his stint with Boston and became the first year-long teammate of Luka's to average 25 or more points. More than his tremendous impact on the floor, though, Kyrie seemed, for the first time in a long time, content, even happy with his role on the Mavs and his life in Dallas. Alongside him, Luka finally became a legitimate MVP contender, putting up career highs in points, assists, and three-point percentage while playing the most games in a season since his rookie year. Luka balling and the star that fits next to him, that was, and has always been, step one. Finding rotation players to put next to Doncic, however, has been just as big a problem for just as long. And yet, Dallas seemed to fix that problem at just the right time, too. At just 23 and 19 at the deadline, the Mavs, partially out of win now desperation, made two moves that would help win them the 5 seed in a stacked Western Conference and catapult them directly into contention. They traded Grant Williams, who had never really seemed to fit with the team, for PJ Washington, and gave up Rashawn Holmes for Washington center Daniel Gafford. Finally, the rim protection that they'd been desperate for in Gafford and one of the better 3-and-D men in the league in Washington. With all the pieces in place, let's fast forward to the Mavs' second round matchup with the best team in the West. The Mavs were up 3-2 behind the play of those new additions that they'd tried so hard for so long to get. PJ Washington had stepped into a bona fide starring role, posting 3 straight games of 21 plus points, including a pair of double-doubles to go alongside his patented intense defense. Kyrie proved to be exactly what Dallas had needed, a playoff performer who steps up in the second half and can consistently shot create outside of Luka. And though Daniel Gafford had filled a Mavs need in his own way, protecting the rim with 2 blocks a game in the series and providing the perfect lob threat for both Luka and Kyrie on their downhill pick and rolls, in this, the closeout game, he was struggling. The Mavs' switch everything game plan defensively left him on islands with one of the game's best one-on-one players, SGA, who had all but played Gafford off the floor. He wasn't the only Maverick struggling, however, as Dallas found itself down 17 points in the second half thanks to a frustratingly ugly turnover margin and an as-of-yet scoreless game from PJ. In the notoriously difficult-to-win closeout game, the Mavs looked to be in danger of squandering a chance to end the series in the Big D and destined for a Game 7 north of the border in Oklahoma City. But the game wasn't over yet. Forced into big minutes with Gafford unable to stay on the floor, it was the rookie center Derek Lively who provided the saving grace for Dallas as they hoped to mount a comeback. While Chet Holmgren's shooting had forced Dallas into on-ball switches, Lively's length and athleticism proved the perfect defense for OKC's many shot creators. Perhaps the most important thing that Lively did, however, was single-handedly win the rebounding battle for his squad. With Dallas turning the ball over far too much, they would need extra possessions to get back into the game. And that's just what Lively provided, grabbing a game-high 15 rebounds, more than the entire OKC bench combined, including 4 offensive boards. As the comeback began, the Mavs held the Western Conference's best team without a field goal for a full 6 minutes of game time. With Lively getting stops and snatching boards, in the final moments, it was time for the Mavs stars to contribute. With massive shots from Kyrie, Luka, and PJ Washington, who scored all 9 of his points in the final 5:19 of game time, the Mavs all contributed to help complete the comeback and sink the Thunder. So there you have it. A malcontent star finding his perfect fit. A budding MVP who found a way to play even better, and desperate midseason additions that outperformed any expectations. All of that in a career performance from a little known rookie helped the Mavs come together at just the right time to make it back to the Western Conference Finals. The Mavs were finally able to pair young talent and veteran presences, the perfect mix of front court depth and shooting around Luka at just the right time, and they're in contention once again. The only question that's left is how far can this roster take them?